Almost after 2 years from 22nd June 2020, EU-China summit was held on 1st April 2022. This time, the Russia-Ukraine war dominated the agenda, which is in contrast to the last time, as COVID-19 pandemic was the dominant topic by then. The European Union's way of dealing China can be regarded as a reflection of European public sentiment on China. In this video, we are going to discuss this. What is the latest European public's opinion on China? This report is a result of a wide-scale study in public opinion in 13 countries in Europe, conducted between the last two EU-China summits by the Central European Institute of Asian Studies and the partners. I will go through some important points that are representative of European public opinion on China. This episode is divided into 6 parts to have a holistic view of European public opinion on China. First, we will delve into the overall European public's opinion on China. In relation to this, we will also check if there is a change in the pre and post-COVID situation. Secondly, we will discuss the public opinion on EU-China economic relation. According to the popular opinion, we will check if they think China has gained or lost something from this COVID-19 situation. Thirdly, we will see, besides economy, if there are some other concerns that Europeans expressed on China. Fourthly, we will dig into China's cultural soft power in European countries, if Chinese culture is attractive to Europeans or not. The fifth point is to see if Europeans associate the origin of COVID-19 and China together. And on the sixth point, we will see what are the first things that come to an European mind when China is mentioned. If you are interested in a particular issue, you can go to that chapter by clicking on the chapters, or watch it all to have a comprehensive view of the situation. If you would like to read the complete report, I'm sharing the link to it in the description below. Now, let's start. So, the first chapter is overall European perception on China. Overall, Europeans' view on China is predominantly negative, with the respondents of 10 out of 13 surveyed countries reported significantly negative views than positive views. The respondents from Western and Northern Europe tend to be more negative on China, whereas the Eastern Europe tend to have a positive view. Interestingly, Southern and Central Europe find themselves somewhere in between, however, mostly being negative. Amongst the surveyed European countries, Swedish respondents tend to have most negative feelings on China, with altogether 60% of Swedish population have shown very negative to negative feelings on China, whereas only 12% of them have shown positive to very positive feeling on China, while the remaining 28% remain neutral on China. The predominant negative views on China also continued in Germany, France, the UK, and in the Czech Republic. On the opposite side, Russian and the Serbian respondents tend to have the most positive views of China, with almost 60% of them have very positive to positive views of China. The only European Union member, Latvia, has shown the highest percentage of positive view of China, where 43% of respondents have very positive to positive views of China, compared to only 28% held a negative view of China. The 4 Visegrad countries, namely Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic, ended up somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, although with prevailingly negative sentiments. Now let's have a look if there is a change in public opinions on China in pre- and post-COVID situations. The British report has shown the highest percentage of respondents who said that their views on China got worse during COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, 2/3 of the respondents, meaning 66% of the respondents, have declared that their view of China got worse in pre- and post-COVID situation, while only 6% of British respondents have shown that their view of China got improved during this time. In contrast to the British situation, the Serbian respondents have shown that their view on China got improved a lot during pre and post-COVID situation. In numbers, almost 50% of Serbian respondents found their view of China got better during pre and post-COVID situations, whereas only 16% of Serbian respondents said that their view of China got worse during that time. The similar kind of situation can also be seen in Russian and Latvian case. The respondents from these two countries have also said that their view of China got improved a lot during this pandemic. So the next chapter discusses how the EU-China economic relation is being perceived by the popular opinions. Looking at the various aspects of EU-China interactions, only trade with China is being perceived predominantly positive in most countries, exceptions being France, the UK, and Sweden, who lean to be slightly negative. In comparison, Chinese investments are perceived somewhat negatively, with only a minority of countries leaning to positive, such as Serbia, Russia, Latvia, and Poland. The Chinese investments are the most negatively perceived by the respondents from France, Germany, and Sweden. Similarly, the Belt and Road Initiative is perceived somewhat positively in Russia, Serbia, Latvia, Italy, and Poland, while the remaining countries lean towards negative perceptions. The respondents' opinion on China's gain and loss from this COVID-19 was asked. Only a few respondents from these 13 European countries believed that China's reputation during this COVID-19 pandemic got improved. In this case, even in Serbia, only 30% of respondents thought China's reputation got improved during this pandemic. 16% from Russia, and the percentage from other countries are even less. On other hand, many respondents feel that China has economically gained from this COVID-19 pandemic. In Hungary, 50% of respondents thought the same, followed by Spain and Poland, and only 15% of Swedish respondents agreed with them. In surveyed countries, most of the respondents feel that China is economically more powerful in comparison with US, Russia, and the European Union. Only the Polish respondents have more confidence in US economic power, while the British, Spanish, Italian, and Hungarian respondents feel that the Chinese and USA economic power are equal or about to be equal. The respondents are significantly doubtful about the European Union's economic power, which has scored significantly lower than the US and China. Interestingly, in France and in Italy, the Union's score is even weaker than Russia. So in our third point, we are going to explore, besides the economic power, what are the other concerns that Europeans expressed on China. The most negatively perceived issues are China's impact on environmental issues, China's effect in other democratic countries. These two common points have been seen in all 13 surveyed countries. On the specific issues such as 5G, Chinese companies are the least favored companies to have a cooperation with, especially in Sweden, the Czech Republic, in the UK, France, and Germany. The exception remain to be Russia, where respondents favor cooperations with Chinese companies. Addressing cybersecurity is the most severe security issue across 13 countries and perceived as one of the most important policy issues to take towards China, especially in Sweden, the UK, and in France. The limitation of China's soft power is again very visible when we see that how little trust China enjoys among the respondents from the 13 countries in Europe. In most of the surveyed countries, the EU and the US are the most trusted actors. Only the Serbian and the Russian respondents have shown more confidence in China than EU and the US. That brings us to discuss China's cultural soft power in the EU. So talking about China's cultural attractiveness, The French respondents have a divergent opinions. 28% think that it is unattractive. On other hand, almost 45% think that Chinese culture is attractive. Overall, French distrust towards China is very high. For Italians, the EU emerges to be the most culturally attractive subject, where the US and China lay somewhere in between, while the Russian culture is being the least attractive one to the Italian respondents. On the contrary, the German respondents find China is more culturally attractive than the US and Russia. In the German case, in the category of cultural attractiveness, China outperformed the EU. In Spain, China comes second, right after the European Union, and ahead of the US and Russia. However, China is not seen as a trustworthy partner. In Latvia, China is perceived as culturally attractive by the 2/3 of respondents. In Poland, Chinese culture is perceived as attractive by 70% of the respondents, whereas the European Union's cultural attractiveness scored 73. On other hand, the US scored 68% in Poland. In the UK, China's cultural attractiveness is substantially lower in comparison with that of EU and the US, as it is seen with the China's human rights record in the UK. In the next or the 5th chapter, we will see what are the popular public opinion on the origin of COVID-19 pandemic and China. Regarding the origin of COVID-19, only in Sweden more than 50% of respondents agreed on the idea that COVID-19 virus naturally jumped to human from animals. Most of the respondents agreed with this in the countries such as Germany, France, Italy, Russia, Latvia, and the UK. In the remaining countries, most of the respondents believe in the other theories regarding the origin of COVID-19. Interestingly, in Poland, more than half of the respondents believe that the virus was artificially made in Chinese lab and intentionally spread internationally. The significant amount of respondents from other countries also agreed with this theory, including those from Spain, Latvia, Hungary, the UK, and interestingly also in Serbia this time. This may be regarded as one of the limitations of China's soft power and international trust on China. Even amongst the countries who tend to have a positive view of China are believers of conspiracy theories against China. And two countries of this kind to mention here are Latvia and Serbia. Many respondents from specifically these two countries still believe that China would intentionally spread the virus globally. Besides this, more than 50% of respondents from Sweden, France, Germany, and the UK still believe that the COVID-19 has spread due to Chinese people eating bat and other animals. This is a theory has been reported by the mainstream European media and yet got highly criticized. In the 6th and final chapter, we will see what are the things come to an European mind when China is mentioned, meaning what are the words Europeans often associate China with. In the most of the surveyed countries, the respondents reported that the COVID-19 is the most common word to associate China with, especially in Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and the UK. In Sweden, the most common association was dictatorship, while the Czech Republic associated China with communism. In Latvia, Russia, and Slovakia, China's large population was the keyword which dominated in public minds. Interestingly, in Latvia, the word COVID-19 as an association of China appeared in as low as 8th spot. However, in other countries, it appeared in the 1st or in the 2nd position. So, summing up, we can see distinct geopolitical behavioral patterns in which the view of China travels negative to positive as you travel from west to east in the continent, which is also quite representative of China's influence and investment in Europe. Hope this episode added some value to your knowledge on Europeans' perception on China. See you in the next, and thank you so much for being here today.